Excellent Leadership Podcast listeners, we have a treat for you today. We are joined by footballing icon and legend, Giorgio Chiellini. I'm your host, Chad Biagini, and I will be interviewing Giorgio today with my colleague, Eymeric Moura. From captaining Juventus in the Italian national team to winning the Euros and leading one of the most dominant defensive units in modern football, Giorgio's career has been nothing short of legendary. He was a warrior on the pitch, a leader in the locker room, and now he's transitioning into the world of football business. Giorgio's journey offers valuable lessons in resilience, leadership, adapting to new challenges, and he's one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Today, we'll dive into what it takes to maintain excellence at the highest level, the mental toughness required to lead through adversity, and how he's shaping the future of sport beyond his playing days. You do not want to miss today's episode. Hi, Chad Biagini here, host of the Excellent Leadership Podcast, joined today with colleague and co-host Eymeric Moura and Giorgio Chiellini, Italian superstar in the game of football. Giorgio, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Chad. I'm very happy to be here.
Giorgio, I'm excited about today's conversation. Thanks for letting us have this discussion. We're going to start with some fun ones before we dive into your career. If you could tackle any footballer again, who would it be and why?
I think Ibrahimovic, because he was my best enemy during my career, and I was his teammate, and then we play against a lot of times, and then now we met, and I have a good relationship with him. I love to play with him. I love him, but I also love to play against him.
And you both went to rival teams in Los Angeles at some point in your careers, but you didn't play each other in LA, right? You just missed each other on the timeline.
He didn't win. He didn't win. I won.
Yeah. That's a good point. I love that answer. What's the wildest thing an opponent ever said to you during a match to try to throw you off your game?
But that trash talking is not so common in football in Europe. I never had some so weird trash talking during a game. I never did it. Okay, sometimes you could complain about some fouls or everything, but it's not about yourself. It's very different in what I've seen in US when I read about basketball and all this thing. We don't have to prove that we are better with trash talking. We have just to kick and then complaints with everything and yelling to each other, but not really this type of talks.
You were talking about trash talking, and that's actually a good link to the next question. So what have you ever done during your career to psych out a penalty kicker, and did it work?
No, penalty kicker, not. What I did a lot of times in try to annoy my opponents and try to understand what I don't like to receive, like to be touched, to be a little bit push through without the ball, all these little tricks that sometimes they don't love to receive, obviously, hand in the face or something that you could do in order to get him frustrated. This type of thing. But to a penalty kick, you cannot do anything, just pray that your keeper could save the ball.
And you had a really good one, actually.
Yeah, I had the best. I was very lucky during my career.
If you were to give a speech to the Italian squad for the opening of the World Cup 2026, what would you tell them?
That finally we are back again. That I wasn't able to play the last two World Cup, and they have to be proud to represent Italy, and they have to be proud to show to some kids that they never saw Italy playing a World Cup how much beautiful is football and how much all the Italian nation is good.
Giorgio, you've had an amazing career, playing in Serie A for most of it, European glory and getting to win the Euros, to playing in MLS, now your role off the pitch. Before we get there, what was life like growing up?
I grew up in a very small city in Tuscany, Livorno. My father is a doctor, my mother is a manager. The star created from nothing, from the scratch. And I always loved football. Honestly, at 5 years old, I wanted to play basketball because my best friend at the time started to play basketball, but I was too small to play basketball. And then I started football with my twin brother. and I like it. And fortunately, I continued this pathway. At 13 years old, I was selected by our small team that was third for division at that time for the youth team. But I wasn't selected by Empoli or Fiorentina. That was the best one in Tuscany. I started to be part of a region selection at 14, 15 and the youth national team since 16 years old. I won the under-19 European Cup with Italy. That we were the only one until a couple of years ago that another team won again. And I started to be part of the first team and under 21 Italian national team. And when I was 20, I was sold to Juventus. And after a year alone on Fiorentina, I went there. It was very normal adolescence. I had my scooter, my motorbike, and I went there with every morning with my brother, eating in less than 10 minutes to my grandma's house, and then go to have a training from 3 to 5. Go out with my best friend at 6, and no matter what, at 7:30 we had to be at home because dinner was on the plates, and my mom didn't allow us to be late.
So when you were 13 is when you started taking it seriously? Were you playing football all day, every day as a little kid, 7 to 10 years old?
I always play with passion and train with passion. Never take it seriously or not serious. I always take it seriously at 5, like at
Really?
39. I didn't change so much. What I did at 13 when I was selected from Livorno, I lost 6 kilos during the summer because I was a little bit more, I had more fat, and I enjoy a lot of ice cream and a lot of things, pasta that we love. It was something, I never felt the fatigue. Play football every day. I still remember that my mom, when I was sick or fake sick, I didn't want to school. My mom never asked me how do you feel or anything. Okay, if you're not going to school, you're not going to football. That's your decision. I missed school so few times in my life.
I love that. That was your motivation. You wanted to play. You grew up in a golden era for Italian football. I think of some of the people who you would have grown up with, from Buffon to Gattuso to Del Piero to Totti. I mean, the list goes on and on. What made that era such a special era? And was it training different back then? Was it society different back then? The team's still great, but that was a special moment.
Yes, Italy was the best place to be for a football player and for as a football league. That we had all the best team and all the best investors in the league until 2004, 2005. That we were dominating the European football world. I don't know why, honestly, but you got talent in every position, and also as a defender, you forgot Maldini and Cannavaro and all this Nesta talents that were really unbelievable. And I arrived a little bit later after them, but I was lucky to play with part of them and to learn a lot, and not just about to be good technically, but about the leadership that they shown, everything that they brought into the pitch and out of the pitch that is not easy to have.
Juventus has always been one of the top club, if not the top club in Italy. But it had obviously its darkest moments. During those moments, following Calciopoli, a few players decided to stay in Juventus, and you were one of them. Some of them changed teams to stay in Serie A, and you decided to stay with the Juve to help them to go back to their glory. What made you take this decision?
I think that I deserve to be remembered for that because of what I did later, what I've done later. Because at that time I was 22. I just arrived in Juventus. It was a moment to me also to take some more responsibility and to become more important into the team. The people that has to be mentioned at that time were Buffon, Del Piero, Trezeguet, Nedved, Camoranesi. Those players that really decided to stay, that have already won the World Cup. No, the World Cup. The final World Cup final. We have 4 players that remain in Serie B. That those players were really special, and you could add Nedved. I deserve to be mentioned with them because I've done after them a lot of things for Juventus. But at that time, for me, it was pretty easy to, 1 year in Serie B, I start to play as a starter, I start to take more responsibility and try to learn from them what it means be a Juventus captain, leader, and important player.
What still makes you be so passionate about football today? Even after stopping your professional player career, you're growing up into a top executive career.
I would have loved to play until 100 years, maybe, but my knees and my calves they didn't totally disagree on that. I love football. I love to be part of this environment. I love to try football to be better. And now I've prepared myself, and now in this new position, I would love to not just help new players to develop and do their best and try to manage their life in the best way possible, but also I hope and would love to help football as a movement and try to be more sustainable, more efficient, more passionate for fans, all these type of things. Obviously, it's a dream, but in order to, I think that you need the small step and the small goal to reach, but also the big goal to dream, because it's giving you the volunteer and the passion and the energy to do some sacrifices. That is not big sacrifices like many other people do, but at least every of us is sacrificing time from the family and many other things that is not covered by money. Especially sometimes that I'm missing, and I miss you cannot have again.
You captained some of the best players in the world, both at Juventus and for the Italian club. How did your leadership evolve over that time, and what makes a good leader in football?
I had beautiful captain and an amazing captain like Del Piero, Buffon, Cannavaro, and I learned from them. Yes, I admire them, but I think that you need to be yourself in order to be trustable and recognized as a captain, and also to be true. It's not easy. Everyone is different. I try to be I'm vocal a little bit, but I don't like to scream and yell too much. I love to embrace. I love to be the example, like to be the first every day, the facilities, to work hard, try to show the right way to do things and not just to tell it. What I love the most from Buffon, and I could remember every time that in every season, also the best season we had in our career, there were a couple of times that crucial moments in which we were struggling and we needed something to change. And Gigi is able to find the words that really arrive deep in your heart, in order to change this type of moments and to take from you something that you don't expect to have, and to bring back again the team in the right way. I don't think that I have this capacity, but I'm different. I try to do it another way. I try to do more in a daily routine. I try to do not arrive in the situation, and but when I needed to be strict, without yelling, I was strict, and we went away the room in just 10 seconds. It happens.
You're known for your mental toughness and resilience on the pitch. What do you think shaped that in you? And then a second question, how can executives build their own mental toughness and resilience? Because it's not easy dealing with board members and dealing with budgets and competing in the boardroom either.
Yeah, I think that athletes have a lot of qualities that could be done also in the companies, or in our case still in football, but also in other companies, because this type of group work is not easy to teach and to learn. And we were able since our childhood to manage this type of thing. And if you are a good leader in the locker room and you are humble to and learn new things, and you have the eager to learn new things, you could do it also and replace in another locker room that is not is with size and suits and ties, sorry, but it's still almost the same place.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about Juventus and the motto of Juventus. Let's see if you remember it.
Vincere non è importante, ma è l'unica cosa che conta. Winning is not important, but it's a lot of things matter.
Exactly. Tell us a little bit about this approach that Juventus have. Tell us a little bit about the culture.
I think that
of the
when
club.
you arrive in Juventus for at least 6 months, you don't understand where you are. It's not because it's better. Then maybe you can mention AC Milan, Inter, Roma, Napoli, or the big European clubs, but it's different. And then you have to start to understand how it's working then, pros and cons, what is different from what you're habit for. And in Juventus, our values are, we are a family. We are not probably the only one, but the few sport franchise or club on from the same family.
Very true.
For 100 years now, 101. This year we are celebrating 102. And then family, hard work, the style, and effectiveness. Then winning is important. That's why we are we won 38 titles, and the second one, Inter, is at 20. And maybe we are struggling in European competition because AC Milan was much better than us. But about resiliency, consistency, we don't have opponents in our league.
Are these the reasons also why you've decided to basically do almost all your career in Juventus and was never attracted by maybe going to another championship?
I was lucky, very lucky. I was very lucky because a couple of times, a couple of sliding doors has happened also in my career. One before we started 9 titles in a row that I was almost close to Real Madrid. That close or not is not easy to understand. I had some talks also at that time, also in the same years with Manchester City. And the Premier League would have been a good market for me before 30. I think that my physicality and mentality would have been very good here in Premier League. But I was very lucky to make the history in Juventus, and I'm very proud about myself to step back at the right moment. Still at a good level, but not really having so many issues in the last year of my career. And I did the same in LA. I had an offer to stay 1 more year, like I had a 1 year more contract in Juventus. I decided to retire. I decided to stay and work for the club for 6-7 months and did an internship into the club, and then very happy to be remembered still as a good player. And people are now asking me to play again, that I'm not able to run with all the pain and problem that I have, but it's because I left on them good memories.
Coaches, managers, owners recognize you need exceptional talent on a pitch in order to be competitive. But it's not just the talent. It's how that talent works with each other. It's the culture. Talk to us about culture in locker rooms, culture among, a band of brothers there. What was working well in culture during championship years versus perhaps what do sometimes clubs get wrong when they have the best players, but it's not translating into a championship or a win because of culture.
And the culture of the club is so important, and you need to have it very clear, and you need to be very clear and to teach to all the employees, not just the players. The players are just a part of employees, that you have to create a culture into the club. Then when someone arrives, it's something that is in there, but is in there through people, not through walls or through motto that is not really felt by the people. What I loved the most when I was the captain in the last years of my Juventus years was that at the beginning of every year we were 25 players, different culture, different ages, and at the end we played just in 11. 14, 15, but at the end, every Sunday or every game, because it's not anymore Sunday, every game is 11, but we need to have just one goal, and we have to put this common goal beyond our personal goal. That sometimes we were 25 companies, not even players, not even men, but we need to have one common goal, and it's very hard to manage all these little details, to let the flow of the river goes in the right direction with all the things that happen in a year. Coach has an important role, club has an important role. I think that for 1 year also a coach or good players could win a title in 3 to 5 years, medium long term. Just the club is really winner of the title, or sometimes also the reason why a club doesn't win a title.
Quick interruption. If you are enjoying the Excellent Leadership podcast, I have a small favor to ask you. Could you please take a moment to like, subscribe, and leave a 5-star review? It helps us grow the Excellent Leadership podcast community and ensures we keep bringing you top-tier guests, powerful insights, and impactful episodes. Thanks for your support. Now, back to the show. You played for some iconic, successful coaches. Ranieri, Conte, Capello. Who's your favorite?
The best two coaches I had in my career that I've passed more years than another one was Conte and Allegri. They were very different, but I think they were the coach that teach me the most. I always took something from all the coaches, good, bad. Fortunately, I was very lucky, as you mentioned, that we had the good coaches, but also if you had some bad coaches, you could learn from them. But I was lucky that Conte completely changed my idea of football, not just in defending, but also be a more complete player, and we started to play much more with the ball and not just without the ball. And Allegri gave us a sense of freedom and responsibility, and sometimes lightness in our heavy pressure that they were very important for me.
So you eventually left Juventus and you moved to America. You went to Los Angeles. What was that experience like? What made you decide to make such a major life change?
I always was fascinated by US, and what I've noticed and what I wanted to learn in my transition from top professional athletes to retired player, and is to learn the American culture, especially in the sport business, that I think they are the best. And then I have already decided to retire, and but I said to my wife, if happens some good offer from US, I would love to evaluate, and then I hope, no, I don't want to move. And honestly, at the beginning it was not easy, but when the LAFC offer arrived, I was really fascinated. I went to the site and had a look of the history of the club, that it was really short, that completely different but really strong. And I met the ownership and all this type of meeting. I said, okay, it's the right time and right experience for myself in order to really learn what Americans done, because look at the Americans' ownership now in Europe. I have already this idea 5 years ago, and it's happening more and more and more and more. And the best way to be in the middle between European football and American investors and mentality is someone that have lived both. and it's not easy because it's not easy to have the luck to live like I lived these two experiences, and probably they were the best 2 years of my life in LA. I discovered everything. I studied a lot because I arrived there in order to get also a good relationship from my teammates and not scare them. One of the hardest part is to know all the names of the players. I didn't know them. I knew just Carlos Vela and Gareth Bale that arrived a little bit after me. But arriving in that locker room, call name by name all the players, and have the humility also to step down at their level in order to really raise them up with me, and work through some little, but not because I was the best or I'm the best, but because I was able to have different things, higher level, different experience that could help the team to play better. But I learned a lot. I learned a lot to how to live, how it's different living in US. You cannot ask to some players something because they are not able to have some pressure that we have. Regular season is very different from our league because you have playoff and everything could change. And then you have to really be ready for the last months. And what's happened before is just a journey. It's not the journey that you cannot recover from a bad result. And many other little details that I loved everything I had in LA. The organization really were very nice. They helped me at the beginning when I arrived with all the problem that is moving a family from Torino to Los Angeles, and the school and all the little things of a family that is very important for a player. And after that, they teach me everything about the MLS rules and what they did in business. In the last 6 months of my career, after we won a league. We lost 3 finals. I lost again another Champions League final also there in order to don't lose the good habits. but I love a lot the last 6 months that I worked for them.
You were talking about retirement, and I'd like to go a little bit through this process that you're going from ending your professional football player career to growing into a leader more on the business side. So you've been working with Juventus today as a brand ambassador. We were talking about it earlier. You're taking more and more responsibilities inside of the club. Can you walk us through a little bit this transition that you have been living in the last few months?
Yeah, it's not easy. It's something that you need to really want, and you need to have the humility to learn, because I'm 40 years old. I just turned 40 a few months ago, but I'm pretty new in the job environment, company environment, because I just touched that office sometimes, but just pass and say hello, or meeting some people and go away. And it's very different from the field, the gym, different rhythm, different responsibility, different pressure, not bigger, not smaller, but different for sure. And the biggest difference I found is it's not depend on me. That's very different, and it's something that I still need to work on that, because now I'm not taking the biggest responsibility, but it's not depend on me the result. I was able to decide, and then similar to that, there are many differences that I'm working on it, and I love to learn. I always listen to any advice that I received, and then I elaborate. Sometimes during the evening time when my daughters are sleeping, and I have much more time for myself to start to understand what I'm doing good, what I'm doing bad, what I could do better, and I'm searching mentors that I think that people with more experience are very important in my journey.
Giorgio, we could talk for hours, but you have a car to catch. So we're going to jump to 7-question blitz. 7 questions we ask everybody who comes on our show. What sports event have you never been to that you would love to attend?
I need to go to a Super Bowl.
You need to go to a Super Bowl.
I need to go.
Do you have an NFL team?
No, I was joking with a friend of mine, keeper Johnny McCarty, the Eagles fan, and then we were supposed to be Eagles because it was really crazy for the Eagles. And the first thing that I did when I grew up, when I wake up in the morning, a few weeks ago, was texting "Go Birds."
Yeah. Eagles fans are passionate fans.
Yes.
They're fun to be around. What three people, either alive or historical, would you love to go spend an afternoon with?
Probably Kobe Bryant, because I'm not a NFL fan, but I am an NBA fan, and I was a Lakers fan since my childhood. I was very lucky to be there, meet the Lakers family and then the Lakers environment, and they were very nice with me. Then Kobe would have been interesting to be with. I would love to stay with Greg Popovich, because he's a reference that I always admire, and his calmness, but his roughness, and but his also kindly toughness that I always loved, and Gianni and Umberto Agnelli, that they did an history in Juventus, and unfortunately they passed away a few years ago before I came to Juventus.
What sporting memory holds a great place in your heart?
It's not easy to find, and for sure the Wembley night, 11th of July, the Euro win. It was the peak of my career.
You're in the wrong country to say that.
I know.
That.
I'm the wrong country, but imagine for me at 37, after I had the ACL at 35, it seems to be the end of my career. And I struggle a lot, because when I played the first game after 6 months, but for a year more, I didn't find consistency. I didn't play 2-3 games in a row. I had a lot of problems, but I was resilient in trying to find many different things to come back. And I found it. I completely changed my routines, and on that month, I don't know what's. I know, but I don't know. I mean, I know that sometimes it's happening very weird things, because your head and your brain is more important than your body sometimes, and what is creating in a group of 25, but it means 50, 70 people, because it's not just the 25 players, it's much more. All the people around are living an experience that you do something different, you do something that you cannot think to do. And I played for semi-final and final in 4 days, playing 120 minutes after I never played 2 games in a 90 for I don't know how many years. And at that level, with that pressure, is something that, because I had to finish in this way.
What's something about you people do not know?
I was really shy when I was a child and adolescent, and I had 2 different personalities. Was on the playing football, and another one was meeting George. That I always had this double personality, that Giorgio and Chiellini, that I found the balance between them, but especially in my childhood it was very different. They were very different. Not even. I always had the proudness to not be beaten by anyone, also older one. And I still remember that first grade in elementary school, I played with the 5th grade. I was the only one allowed to play, because I showed that I never give up. But I was very shy, neither told to them. They're very 2 different things that obviously getting older, you change a little bit and you embrace. But when I was a child, it was that.
Do you have any professional pet peeves? Do you know that term, pet peeve?
No, I don't know, but I know probably what do you want, something like a routine.
Just no, something that people sometimes do in a work environment that you find annoying. So people who make excuses or commas in the wrong spot on a sentence. It can be anything. It's usually something that irks you.
I don't like to have a alibi. Sorry, the pronunciation. I don't like to have alibi. I hate who is always find some excuses to in order to save themselves or to save and to justify a loss or something. I love to think forward and to try to find a solution when you realize what is the problem. Not complain about why it's happened, the problems and why it's happening, but to find solution.
So if you weren't in your current role and you could not work in sports, what would your dream job be?
Okay, when I was adolescent, my father is a surgeon that probably I would have loved to be a doctor. If I have to choose now, probably go deeper in as investors in some funds and this type of finance. Not really as a finance numbers people, but I mean in all the technology innovation that we are going into.
Final one for you. Next time I'm in Turin, where do I need to go to eat dinner?
Okay, we need to go to the Langa area. That is meaning good white truffle, real white truffle, not what you have to eat, what you are able to eat. Good barbaresco. Yeah, close to Alba. I could bring you in one of the best restaurants. Don't worry about that.
All right, I'm coming. I'm sold on that then.
From November to February, March is the best way to book.
Okay. I take that as an official invite, so I'm going to make sure that I book my flights. Giorgio, awesome spending time with you. Thanks for coming into the office.
My pleasure. Thanks to you. And I really love to be here.
Thank you.
I'm going to meet Larry next week. I'm going to LA for 3 days.
Where are you going?
To LA. I'm going to meet Larry Friedman.
Good. One of my all-time favorites. Such a good person.
And it was interesting also Will Kuntz because of the history of Will, that I didn't know some things that he told to you during the podcast.
During the podcast?
Yes, I didn't know all his history about, but at the end he brought me.
Yeah. Will's got
he went in London with me, and all the first conversation I had with him, and then
Will sign you?
Darrington. Yes.
Yeah.
And then Larry Berg and all the club, Steve, the coach. But I started with Will.
I love that. Will's done well in his career.
But imagine, I have just I just did some Zoom call, and when I saw him in London after the finalissima against Argentina, that we signed the contract, he was tall like
He's very tall.
I didn't understand. I didn't expect at all.
How tall is he?
More than 2 meters.
No way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you're tall.
No. Former basketball player, more than 2 meters, but I didn't expect at all. Imagine, for me, it was just seated, never with a person close to him. I had no idea.
Yeah, you don't know until you meet somebody, especially if it's just phone calls or it's just video conferences.
Yes.
You have no idea until you get in person. Like,
Wow. I was, wow.